Okay. So, hi, this is Suhasini, your host for Conscious Leadership. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, someone whom I have not met. I've not met a person like this before, and I thought it will be very good for all our listeners and viewers also to get a taste of her personality, of how she consciously crafted her life. And that was an inspiration for me, and hence I thought it was just worth it to just have a conversation with her, reach out to her, and get her onto the show. So, welcome, Janani. It's an honor to have you here. Just for everybody to know Janani as much as I do, I'm going to just read out a short introduction that I have on my mobile. And pardon me, actually, it's not very short. So please, just let's go through it. You will find many of her characteristics very intriguing. So, Janani, as she defines herself, is a human resource leader with an engineering background, a quintessential mother, a leadership development coach, a certified yoga instructor, a trained vocalist, Veena artist, as well as a teacher, a passionate writer, and I'm sure this doesn't cover all of her. I'm sure there is much more to it, but this is what she has written. And the reason why we have her on this show today is I was just in awe. I was inspired by her multifaceted personality. And if Janani would remember, that was the first question I asked her when I met her previously, saying that how did you actually balance even such a creative side of yours and like the HR accolades that she has gathered over a period of time. I will come to that shortly, but that's going to argue even more further. So for me, since I'm a neuroscience geek, for me it looked like a perfect balance of a right brain and a left brain, and I knew that this is possible only with someone who is extremely self-aware, who is highly perseverant towards achieving whatever goals they have in mind for themselves, who has a very reflective style of leadership, saying, okay, this is where I am, this is where I need to go, with a very learning mindset, who gives structure to problems, and at the same time, who is not afraid to flow in the situation. So, not afraid to let go of control to see what's emerging and then make the best out of it. So, that was something that really, I was in awe of that. Coming to her professional side, she's the head of people and culture for Genzion. Over 17 years of leadership experience with, like everything under the sun. Like I see mergers and acquisitions. I see having worked in products, services, startup and consulting organizations. And before that, she was in Quantella as the global head of human resource. And prior to that, she served in Deloitte as the talent business advisory for the technology business. Now, her list of awards. Now, this is again never ending, but then let me just share a few. Asia's 100 Power Leaders in Human Resource by White Page International in 2022. HR Leader for the Year for Small and Mid-Sized Companies by Economic Times. She was featured in the Elite Club of Business World HR 40 Under 40. Topmost HR Leader Award during the 30th World HRD Congress in 2022. And I'm sure this is not the last, but what I have with me here is recognized with Women Achievers Award by HR Association of India. So, Janani, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you here. And it's wonderful. Let's see what emerges in this conversation.
Suhasini, thank you so much. I must say it's an honor to be with you in this show because I remember our earlier conversation. It was just one conversation, but the way you summarized about the personality that you had gathered about me is just very intriguing to me, saying, okay, how is it that she captured so much in that one conversation? Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward for a great conversation in the next several minutes.
Sure. Okay. So let's get started. So I'm going to ask the same question that I asked you last time, because I know that after hearing this introduction of yours, there are many people for whom this question is bubbling. How did you craft yourself like this? I mean, there is a highly creative side and there is an extremely structured side of personality of yours. How did you get this balance? What do you do to evolve yourself?
I must attribute a lot to my childhood and my parents, actually, because the initial years of how I was nurtured as a child I think had its huge share back then, though I used to hate it while growing up, saying, why is it that I need to do things very differently when compared to many other children? And then later I understood that that was perhaps my nature. I was thinking that it is nurture. So it's a good combination of both nature and nurture that came together well, is what I must say. Now, if I have to double click on my childhood, Suhasini, there are a few things that happened very differently for me. One, I was introduced to music very young, like 2, 3 years of age, because I hail from a music family and there was no escape from that. And always my parents were firmly insisting that, you need to have your art going in the side. Like it has to grow along with your studies. So there is no one thing that you can latch on to. You have to have 2, 3 things. And therefore, time management or discipline, all that had to just come in very young. And in order to inculcate that, when I was in class 2, I vividly remember my father actually first came and told me during summer holidays, I want you to think of how you will spend your day in the morning. When will you do your vocal practice? When will you do your writing practice? What will you read today? And what time will you do it? That was my first introduction to how you can plan something. But with planning comes independence also, because you exactly know what you need to achieve and by when you need to and what you need to prioritize. So I think I got introduced to some of these things much early on in life than many others, I must say. And I used to hate it like any other child would have, because all summer holidays my father used to insist that I should write those 10 pages at least, which started in class 2, but when I was in class 12 I used to write like 50 pages. So it continued till that. So you can imagine how discipline has grown over the years. But fast forward many years later, I think that's perhaps what has helped me so much. And I also want to respond to the question of the creativity versus structure, right? I want to take music for this because I teach music in the weekend and I tell this to children many times, out of sheer experience. See, music is full of creativity, but you have the rhythm, you have the thalam, in which you will have to ensure that the music is fitting in, right? You cannot go one swara extra or one lesser, then it's going to go out of place. So it's about saying, okay, there is a perimeter. You can expand the perimeter how much ever you want, but then if you build structure through the perimeter, you flow with your creativity within that perimeter. And every time the perimeter can be different, every time your creativity can be different, because you have the freedom to define the ambit under which or like around which you will want to operate in, or within which you will want to operate in. So that's really how it has all fallen in place, I must say.
Wow. So I see meticulous planning. I see a technique of visualization that you were introduced to right in your childhood. And I see planned focus and perseverance towards your goals. And
Yes.
so the next question that's coming up to my mind is, how did you translate all of this to your professional side of work?
When I first started working, I used to start planning my day. Every day in the morning, I will plan, okay, these are the 10 things I need to do. But when you start working in larger environments, ad hoc environments, you know that that's not going to be okay, because I used to feel very irritated that my plan is not getting implemented,
Yeah.
and that used to affect my stress levels. So then I felt, okay, I need to now start approaching it differently, because maybe I am also growing, I'm also in different environments. And if I'm thrown into an environment that's totally unknown, how can I still be comfortable? So
Yeah.
these were questions I started exploring with myself. So few things I started doing is, like, I have a Sunday evening ritual for the last 6, 7 years, Suhasini. So I just think about what are those big ticket items I have to conquer in this week, come what may. Those are non-negotiables for me. And that can only occupy like 60% of my time. Rest of the 40% of the time has to be for me to go with the flow or learn. And yes, in learning as well, I'm very methodical. So that kind of helps me to ensure that I'm able to be on track with respect to whatever I'm signing up for. I do end up signing up for a little more than what I can accomplish many times. And that does put me in an overwhelming situation few times. But over a period of time, I think there have been advantages with that because I started getting creative, saying, how can I still accomplish some of this? And sometimes it's also about what should I let go? What should I not say yes to? What's filling my plate and making it overflowing and what's not making it worthwhile? So it's about those constant reflective moments that I do on Sunday morning and Sunday evening, the planning for the week. As a person as well, I kind of think through the entire year, saying, okay, this month, broadly, every month, this is what I want to do, and then break it down to weeks and then break it down to days and then hours also sometimes. But then what keeps me real is the agility of looking through it every weekend and going with whatever is priority at that time, rearranging it a little bit and then managing things through.
Wow. So I see a terrific comfort with going with the flow, but at the same time, going with a plan in mind at first and then making the necessary course corrections and continue tweaking it as per the needs and demands of the situation. I think this one thing, this discipline and this ability of yours to take decisions on the go, I mean, if I see your life as an outsider, I think this has contributed to a huge percentage of what you are right now. I mean, literally, I mean, that's like the master key that you have actually shared with everybody out here, saying how
Mhm.
you can achieve so many things in, I will not say short span of time, but in the required span of time, by giving it the necessary dedicated focus, attention, persevering towards the effort, and not wanting immediate results. I mean, most of the stuff that you shared there, or what has become a part of your life, have been long term goals. Like music, you started right from this at a very young age and still continuing. Like all of these are long term goals. So I think there's a lot of element of vision in how you are seeing your life, how you want to craft it. So, okay,
Yes.
fantastic. uh, these, I think, have for any viewer out here, I think this is going to be the success recipe for setting a life as per how one wants it.
Uh, I want to also tell something out here, Suhasini. See, number one, I don't want to think that oh, I have achieved so much because over the years I have realized that no, 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 you don't achieve anything. You do your work every day
Yeah,
meticulously, and then your environment supports, you visualize it, things happen. That's where the spiritual element comes in as
yeah,
well. Many years ago, I did not know this. I was thinking, oh,
yeah,
okay, I'm perhaps doing it all. But then life gives you a lot of elements, and like I'm a staunch believer of the
yeah,
higher power, the God. So I think I have been like, I've got that blessing of, no, okay, no, 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 you're not the doer. And constantly being in
yeah,
that state of not the doer,
yeah.
but perhaps a catalyst for this moment in this place that something has to be done and this person is being used as an instrument. Once
Instrument.
that's done, you just move on. So there is no doership, there is no attachment to the result, there is no attachment to the highs or lows also. I think that's also one of the meticulous practices that I've been into for the last few years. And I'm the more I'm doing it, I'm just realizing that the potential emerges even more than
Yeah,
how much it would have otherwise.
absolutely. I think you uncovered Bhagavad Gita actually in these last 2 minutes. The kind of spiritual teachings that was that are instrumental in your life. I think literally it's the entire Bhagavad Gita capsulated, saying that karam kar phal ki iccha mat kar. Literally, let go of attachment, be a karma yogi, and just do what is needed in the situation. Focus on the present and uphold your highest dharma or whatever is right for the situation to be done. So this is the first session where I'm actually talking spirituality with someone, and
Oh,
it's very good to actually even have a I mean, look at the variety in the conversation. I mean, we are looking at something in form of art. We are looking at something in the form of profession. We are looking at something in the form of spirituality as a core. So that's a fantastic ground that we have here that we are covering. So yeah, okay. So tell me something. Has there been anything in your mind saying that this is my bigger picture? This is what I want to strive for. This is what I want to evangelize.
I think a few years ago, that used to be like a moving target. Many
Mm.
times when I was growing up, I used to think, okay, I need to be in profession, I need to be
Yeah.
known, I need to have this title and all that. But a few years ago, again, I went through my own, I'm very reflective as a person.
Yeah.
Keep thinking, keep reflecting, keep
Yeah.
looking at me as a third person. And then I asked some fundamental questions to myself. What if this job did not exist? What if
Mm.
this profession just dies away? What if these people are going away? And as you age and mature as
Yeah.
well, you start seeing what are those magnets that are sticking to you, or like if you're a magnet, what are those iron pieces that are
Mm.
sticking to you,
Mm.
and what are just go away over a
Yeah.
period of time. So then you realize, okay, now let me pause and think, what is it that I came with, and what is it that I will die with
Mm.
in this body, right? Um, Maybe there are a few things that will stay, and those are going to be my anchors. Those are going to be my fundamentals. Come what may, I'm not going to leave them.
Mm.
So that's one of very revealing moment for me, and that's when I started intensifying my yoga practices. So I've been into yoga for the last 15 years, but about 5 years back or so, I felt, what is the point of doing many things when they will anyway, they're all transient, they'll keep
Yeah.
changing. So when you're going to grow to the age of 60, what do you need? You need a sound body, a sound mind. You need to have oneness with your own spiritual self, and you need to be able to contribute to yourself and to the people around, or to a larger ecosystem. So how can you make yourself on an everyday basis and keep becoming a better version of yourself? And in all of this, how can you keep your anchor very strong, which is growing your roots into what you believe in, or like your spiritual practices? Music for me, because I had no escape. I come from
Yeah.
a music
Yeah.
family. Yeah. Over the years, I've realized music, like I just need to pay 1 rupee to music. It pays me 10 rupees. It's not money. It's about the value I'm talking
Yeah.
about. It's
Yeah.
always so giving. Um, so those are definitely things that I will want to keep, right, like as part of my future vision. But then there is a profession that I invested in. I started rethinking the profession itself. What is it that I can do to make a difference through this profession? I've learned so many things. I had the blessing to stay part of different assignments, varied environments. It's important for me to collect everything and give back to a lot of people through these kind of talking sessions, writings. And that's another thing I continue to do right now, and maybe I will do that even more, because increasingly I'm seeing that I don't know which moment who is getting inspired. They need it at a certain time, and
Yeah.
they hear something that is being spoken by somebody. And that inspiration literally leads people
Yeah.
to become their best self or uncover something that they are supposed to uncover at that point of time. So if my body of work is inspiring people to that level, somewhere, even for a small percentage, then I need to do that. It's a responsibility. So, I don't know if I can tell you, hey, this is where I need to be, but the elements that will be part of my life are all of this, and coaching is perhaps very important as
Yeah.
well, because I'm realizing that I'm doing that quite a bit, but that will be there as part of my long term.
Yeah, definitely coaching, because I have seen coaching sessions where you can actually talk to the soul of the person as to what does he want to do deeply, but it is not able to come to the surface. And just by being the facilitator and just by being the cocoon, you can actually just enable that person to let him come out with whatever he wants to really be. And it is so fulfilling to actually just be the cocoon and not do anything. I mean, just be there, be
Correct.
present to what's emerging, and
Yeah.
just allow the person to discover what's between the already gone and what's not emerged yet. So something between the no longer and the not yet. So
Oh, very beautiful.
yeah, so that's been my passion for coaching. How can I be the cocoon for to enable transformations in that manner? But okay, so here comes my last question. Uh, if you had a message to share with the whole world, what would that message be?
I would say that take few moments every week at least to bring that helicopter or aeroplane view of life.
Hmm.
And why I say that is this. Few years ago, I was in a traffic jam in Mumbai. I had to
Hmm.
catch a flight, and the driver was extremely responsible and accountable. And he was like, "Mama, I need to ensure that you're dropped off and you're able to get your flight." But we were running seriously late, and I thought, okay, it's gone. And I was just calm during that moment. The traffic was really not in our control. Uh, the driver is restless. If I'm going to be further restless, then I'm
Yeah.
just going to add fuel to the fire. So I
Yeah.
didn't want to do any of that. And I felt, okay, what was to happen if I'm missing the flight? I'm missing the flight. I'll have to figure out my next. And at that time, my child was a baby. So so I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. But when I landed to the airport, uh, flight was delayed by half an hour, 45 minutes, and
Wow.
it was a sheer luck, blessing, whatever you want to call. And when I sat down in the flight, I had this reflective moment saying, how much was the chaos before an
Yeah.
hour to how much is the peace at this moment? Again, how much is
Yeah.
transience between
Yeah.
these two states. And when the flight was taking off, right, the same traffic that was so pathetic before
Yeah.
few minutes appeared to have created something so beautiful in the evening, slight darkness and the road lights and the cars' lights. I felt, okay, everything happens for a reason. I don't know, whatever was the larger reason. Maybe
Yeah.
there was an accident that was getting
Yeah.
prevented. Maybe there was something else that would have gone wrong if there was no jam. But everything has finally gone well. So, why I'm saying this is life will keep throwing challenges at us. That's the way of life.
Yeah.
And we will need to continuously strengthen ourselves and look at every challenges. Okay, this is being given to me because I'm capable of handling it, and because if I'm not having the capability right now, I'm going to gain the
Yeah.
capability. So I'm
Yeah.
actually going to double up in the way I'm able to deal with things. So look at it that way and take that larger view of right now it is this,
Yeah.
but 2 hours later it will be different, or 2 months later it will be different. People take very quick
Yeah.
decisions on, yeah, I think everything is gone now, or like, oh, everything is fantastic now. Neither of it is
Yeah.
permanent. So
True.
the zoom out and zoom in of life, I think, gives that perspective continuously. So that's really what I would suggest to consider for people, if at all there's one thing.
Wow. Okay, so I'm still grappling with words to actually summarize what you just uncovered right now. So two, three things. Actually, what you uncovered are core anchors of my life. That generally what you see outside is an illusion. Don't believe too much in the illusion. It is going to take you for a ride. Second is the one that you previously said, that whatever you're dealing with right now, it's been given to you only because you're capable of handling it, and it will continue coming to you till you become capable of handling it. So the same kind of experiences will keep repeating till we know how to deal with it better. Then those experiences will stop coming into our life, and then higher order experiences will start flowing in. So
Yeah.
that is also something that got uncovered when you just said it right now. Zoom in, zoom out. Terrific coaching element. I mean, I just love that zoom in, zoom out so much. Literally, go at a 60,000 feet overview, see what you see from there. What does it really matter to you right now? So that is one thing. And the last that I really thought, which was worth it, is everything is transient. I mean, there's nothing that's going to be permanent, not even we. And if we ourselves are not going to be permanent, then what about our thoughts and feelings, which we are just thinking in the moment of the
Yes.
situation, when next moment we are going to think something different? So, how much of weightage
Yeah.
do we actually give to those things? But
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's easier said than done, right,
yeah,
Suhasini? But we'll be able to experience this the more and more we invest in our own self through meditations.
even,
And
yeah,
I will not want to discount the power of meditation here, because the more we start just practicing few minutes of meditation every day, the more our ability to see things than other than who we are. I
yeah,
think that becomes better. Like, okay, it's just a thought, and the thought will just go just like the clouds. Because the clouds are ever changing, the thoughts are ever changing. You just observe it and it goes. That's it. So that kind of perspective starts evolving, and that starts translating in day-to-day work, in high
yeah,
moments, low moments, anxious moments, or things that are out of control, but you need to deal with it. I think it just starts coming in through that. So that's a practice that I would definitely recommend to everyone. Even just few minutes of closing your eyes and just sitting. Thoughts will come. Yes, they are supposed to come. That's the nature of the thought. But then how we are able to distance from the thought, how we are able to view it differently, and in all of this, then realize that we are just witnesses of everything that are
yeah.
happening, right? So that again is an aspect to consider.
Beautiful. So, with this, we come to the end of this conversation. It was a wonderful conversation. Like, as I said before, we have never uncovered the spiritual elements in any conversation before. And I'm glad that this topic just emerged. I mean, not on our minds. And I was just thinking we'll just take it by the flow of whatever is emerging in the conversation. And I'm glad we actually just broadened our own boundaries of the conversation to wherever it is taking us. Whatever needs to be uncovered is getting uncovered. Whatever is emerging, it's for the best of everybody. So I just love that spontaneity in the conversation. So thank you so much, Janani, for being with us on this show. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here. And I just hope the next guest that we have here is equally enlightening as much as the thoughts and insights that you shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Suhasini. You are so cheerful, and it was an absolute pleasure being part of this session. Thank you.
Thank you.